matter where you are in this world, this is the 820 show. Welcome. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules today to consider less than 10 minutes of a perspective on this thing called resilience that I propose to you, that we all have that ability and capability to tap into whenever we want to. Just like the love that I mentioned in other podcast episodes, that love is a constant. It's not something to fall into or to go after or to buy. It already exists within me, within you, and that's the commonness I want to emphasize in each and every episode. But once again, thank you. Today's topic is called A Description of Heaven. A description of heaven. I kind of sort of provided a definition for heaven from my own personal perspective in the book. If you haven't read it, go on Amazon or on my website and pick up a copy. Resilience, the beauty of presence. But that definition I scripted out in the book is by no means or no way scientific at all. Just I put it down, produced that statement, the definition from my limited understanding of heaven. Now that was my baseline for a definition of heaven until recently, however. And I'll get into that in a minute. So in the book, I provided a definition of heaven. I guess I was writing down the construct of what heaven to me is defined as. It's a very long, series of pluses, minuses, divisions, ratios in this definition in the book. But again, not very scientific. Wouldn't stand up to any PhD doctorate level test. That was my rendition or offer for a definition of heaven. But when I mentioned earlier in this discussion today that I have experienced a new understanding of heaven, not so much the what part that I loosely define, now the how part, when I talked about those daily available slices of heaven we get when we sleep. Then we awaken and take that visit to heaven with us as we wake up or re-enter the world of living and maybe the world of a living hell. But we take in that heaven inside of us as we wake up. But I hadn't attempted to describe heaven to you. Again, this description is from my very new and limited experience and understanding of heaven. What does heaven look and feel and smell like? The touch, the sound that could describe heaven. I would apply my other metric for how I amble or ramble through life with remaining non-resistant, non-attached, and non-judgmental. A way to remind me to build upon my awareness and to activate that awareness. Going down this path about definition and description of heaven, let me share this with you also. There will be peace in heaven among reasonable people. There will be war in heaven among reasonable people. There will be a spiritual conflict and agreements. They'll come to you, to me, at our cellular in atomic levels, like electric and or magnetic. And given those conditions, those broad, loosely defined and described conditions, that's where we will connect easily, and also where we will find friction as well. But at a higher and deeper level, at that frequency and common vibration level, where our movements and observations are more in consonance and less in dissonance. I know this may sound and appear as new or weird now, only because I submit to you, because we have lost that original connection to heaven and to each other, and even to our own selves. I've lost that connection to myself. We've lost that connection to others. And we lost that connection at that common and concerted source inside each and every one of us, at the heart level, at the spark level of that heart, from where the thought of us comes from, and before we ever even appeared on this planet. I know in this discussion today, I'm asking you for a lot. To not see, yet to fully consider that very small, almost undetectable sound that makes us who we are. When we can silence the noise and the drama that we used to love and live, embrace, support, embolden, encourage. But given just another description of something that we probably thought for forever was unattainable until we are actually dead. Me describing this thing called heaven like as here and now, available on a daily basis. I'm just asking you to, yes, take another leap of faith and trust, and that this might make sense as you wrestle with it, grapple with it, reason with it, counter it. But I think even that exercise of considering it maybe helps us to see each other with more clarity, to see ourselves first with clarity on what we have inside of us. We know we all experience hell most of the days that we're aware. Can we also say that we do experience as much heaven every day? Probably not. But at least let's start there with the consideration of that heaven existence here and now with ourselves and then with all. Thank you for that. Until we meet again, stay present, stay current. No matter where you are in this world, it's still 820.